Good evening, everyone. So I will be very careful and stick to time. And thank you, Dr. Shahana Parveen, and everyone for the invitation. So it's a different talk, and I recognize that we have not spoken much about external radiation in the preceding sessions, but I have to cover about brachytherapy and its important in management of cervix cancer. So without going too much into details of cervix cancer, so all of us know that despite a lot of discussions about screening, prevention, and surgical techniques, a vast majority of patients in lower middle income countries, they present with locally advanced cancer, which means that 70 to 80% of patients will require chemoradiation and brachytherapy. And we've briefly touched upon in previous talks about techniques of external radiation. But what makes radiation do so well is actually brachytherapy. And for people who are non-radiation oncologists in the community, I would like to tell that brachytherapy is a technique in which various type of applicators are placed inside the uterine cavity in the vagina, and sometimes with extra needles in the parametrial space to deliver a highly precise form of radiation. And you can see here in the panel here that very carefully all these radiation channels have been placed also going up to the uterosacral ligaments. And it is these techniques that make radiation work even in very locally advanced setting. And I will come in some time to these different techniques, but this is broadly what is brachytherapy all about. And what makes it different from surgery is that many times we have a very blind view while operating, and it really requires some skills, especially when you move to more advanced brachytherapy techniques. And all of you know that in lateral parametrium there are quite some vascular structures, but also bowel and other organs which we do not have the opportunity to retract as we are operating through only the vagina. So a lot has been said about external radiation and brachytherapy, but in last couple of years this question comes up again and again, that there are so many advances in external radiation technique. Brachytherapy is so skill dependent, why do it, just replace it with external radiation? And I would really like to quote this old paper from MD Anderson, where in 1960 and 1980s, when linear accelerator came and people started using more of external radiation and less of intracavitary. And this is a very large paper that is published from there, which clearly shows that as you increase the component of external radiation and decrease the component of intracavitary, there is a very clear detriment in disease specific survival and an exponential increase in complications, because the kind of tight radiation doses you can get with brachytherapy, you cannot get with external radiation. Hence, we give a lot of emphasis to brachytherapy. And this question repeatedly comes again because brachytherapy requires a lot of skills, and not only of the person who's performing brachytherapy, but also of people who are in the team. And when I say in the team, it means additional people like nursing staff, medical physics, and many other people who are involved. And so traditionally, what we've been doing is do something called as standard brachytherapy. And we have been prescribing at something called as point A. When I say point A, it means roughly the crossing of uterine artery and ureter. So traditionally, what used to happen is that with these standard applicators, we could only treat till this region, what you would approach through a type 2 hysterectomy. So patients with advanced stage 3B disease who have disease going beyond this region would receive lesser doses of radiation. And this in past has translated into pelvic failure rates of upwards of 20% to 30%, especially in stage 3B disease. So what now happens since last 2 decades or so, and more so in the last 4 or 5 years, is that these new generation of applicators allow radiation to be delivered also to the lateral parametrium. And with these advanced techniques and these kind of applicators, which Tata Memorial Center has participated in co-development along with Medical University of Vienna, you can implant very extensive diseases. And these are some of the techniques we also developed in-house. And right now, the pelvic failure rate remains as less as 10%, irrespective of disease status. And for centers which do not have access to these advanced applicators, these are some examples where we have improvised the standard intracavity applicators and implanted these needles lateral to the ovoids, or used a perineal template along with intracavity applicators. And you can see how beautifully these radiation sources can be implanted laterally as well. And all this results, as I've previously said, in local control. You can see in early stage 1B1, almost 100%, and in 1B2, etc., 98%. And if I may be generous, I can say that this kind of local control is slightly even higher than early surgery alone in early cervical cancer. And you can also see that for other stages, it is upward of 90%. And here on the right side, I show that this kind of increment from 70% local control to upwards of 95 can be gained only with advanced brachytherapy. And it brings to discussion again of resources and availability in low middle income countries of these applicators, equipments, and MRIs. So what Tata Memorial has been doing is invest a lot in these kind of techniques. And what we do in our center is try to do implementation in a more triaged way. And I'll come to it in a moment. And you can see that if you see clinical trials and real world implementation, there is a clear difference, which means that techniques are not being applied appropriately when they are taken to the community. Everything looks very beautiful in clinical trials, but when you go to routine practice, similar kind of local control cannot be achieved. So we have done a lot of resource mapping in our institution. And what we have realized is that for low middle income countries to make this jump from standard brachy to advanced brachy, there is at least a 3 to 4 investment of time, which means lesser number of patients treated. So what we do in our institution is try to select patients who would like to go for advanced brachytherapy, because the workflow in our institution becomes very complex, especially when you have more than 6 to 7 patients to be performed every day. And this is just a cartoon which shows how during the day patients are flowing from one process to the other to perform brachytherapy. And I will not go too much into details of all these things, but here is a summary of what has been a recurring theme, that resources are less in the country. And if you have to make this jump, the requirement of manpower and requirement of costs is way too much. So what we do in Tata Memorial Center is try to do a lot of CT and transrectal ultrasound based brachytherapy. And you can see from some of the publication in our institution where we show that CT combined with ultrasonography is actually non-inferior to MRI. And you can see this in a lot of studies which have been published from Asian countries, that you can actually get exactly same local control, 90% and above, if you use these techniques carefully. And there is some work done in this direction from our institution. And this is the resource stratified technique that we use in our institution, because we know that advanced brachy may not be possible realistically for all. We try to select it for patients who either have poor response to external radiation or have very aberrant anatomies, which will lead to higher organ at risk doses. And by using such an approach, you can see that our outcomes of now standard of care routine patients outside clinical trials and patients who are treated in routine trials. On right hand side are patient in clinical trials, and left hand side are our routine patients. On the right hand side, these patients are 100% MR based brachy, and on the left side there is selective use of advanced brachy, and now our rate is around 30%. So our outcomes are not much different, and similar level of care can be delivered. And to encompass treatment of all these patients with complex techniques, we have come up in Tata Memorial Center with various different kind of brachytherapy schedules which are being tested in clinical trials. So traditionally brachytherapy is given over 3 to 4 sittings in 3 to 4 weeks, and this is something that we have been following for last 20 or 30 years. But since EMBRACE trials have been published, more than 3,000 patients worldwide have been treated with an abbreviated brachy schedule, which means single application and 2 fractions. And this is very helpful for low middle income countries, which means that you will reduce your work by half if you do high quality implants, because instead of doing 2,000 procedures per year, I have to do 1,000 and invest more time in planning. But what our center has already also invested in is doing single implants and delivering all treatment in one sitting. But this is a phase 1 clinical trial work, and we are waiting for the follow-up to mature. And if this is possible, it will have huge implications on resources within low middle income countries, where you decrease the requirement on resources and yet deliver equally effective treatment. And these are preliminary results from our institution, which show that single application multiple fractions delivered within the setting of MR brachy, they have led to a very high local control and very minimal complications. What is also very important from our institution is this recent data during COVID time, where we were almost forced to use this abbreviated fractionation. And this was not in MR setting. Patients had violated overall treatment times, simple CT-based planning, yet single application multiple fractions is showing almost similar local control and very acceptable toxicity profile at 12-month follow-up, but more to be followed further. Now, moving from radical treatment to another scenario, which is also very common in low middle income countries, and that is patients undergoing simple hysterectomy in the community and later coming up with recurrence in the vaginal apex. And traditionally, their outcomes have been less than 50% at 5 years. So in our institution, we have invested a lot on image-guided brachy in this particular cohort, which is very common in developing world, but relatively less common in developed countries. So for such patients, we try to give concurrent chemoradiotherapy and then followed by advanced image-guided brachytherapy. And these are results which are published from our institution. So you can see that 7-year local control is around 85% in recurrent setting with disease-free survival of 70%, which I think is one of the best series in the entire world, which again emphasizes the need of good quality brachytherapy in this cohort. And quality of life of patients up to 7 years is very well maintained, and with very few patients complaining of quality of life issues. Third, very important aspect is re-irradiation. And we've had discussions related to chemotherapy and lack of feasibility of salvage surgery in a vast majority of patients. And if salvage surgery is not feasible for these patients, whatever we say with fanciest of drugs, their survival is less than 1 to 1.5 years. So we practice in our institution a lot of re-irradiation, and in the pandemic setting, this became even more relevant with systemic chemo not being offered in certain time pockets. And in last 2 years, we have treated close to 100 patients, also referred from many other centers for re-irradiation. So this is an example of patient treated in 2018. This was again a post-surgical recurrence treated with 3D CRT and interstitial brachy. In 2020, she presented with local recurrence. Again, we did IMRT followed by interstitial brachy. And she's had her last follow-up, sorry, it's March 22 is by mistake. Actually, she came last week for follow-up, and for 2 years, she's okay. And this is just to explain also with multitude of other series that re-irradiation applied correctly leads to excellent outcomes and more than 50% survival for 2 to 3 years, with 1 in 4 patients developing severe toxicity. When I mean severe toxicity, that means amounting to permanent stoma. And the way I explain to patients is that if you undergo exenteration, then there's a 100% chance of stoma. And if you undergo re-irradiation, it's 1 in 4. And very often patients choose that. So clearly these things bring in requirements of a lot of training. And at Tata Memorial Center, we are very invested in a brachytherapy skills lab, which is also supported by Brachy Academy Electa. And any of your trainees are most welcome to write to us for further training if they need in brachytherapy. And we also work in close collaboration for implementation of high quality brachytherapy along with 10 countries worldwide. And we are very focused now on establishing the learning curve, especially with advanced brachytherapy skills for accreditation practitioners for brachytherapy. So I will like to end by saying that brachytherapy provides excellent control in patients with cervix cancer, both in primary and recurrent settings. And there is a clear need to invest in brachytherapy procurement and research. I thank you very much for your kind attention.